Greetings of peace and welcome. My name is Anthea Alexander, and I'm a coach and mentor. I help women and any people who are interested in achieving sovereignty in their finances, physically and mentally. And I'm joined this evening by four co-hosts or panel members or conversation partners, whatever they might like to be called. So each Friday evening, we join together to discuss a topic of interest. And this evening, we're going to be discussing self-compassion. I will allow our beautiful other panel members conversation members to introduce themselves. But what I would also like to do is just basically explain a little bit more about what the purpose of our conversation is. So maybe 18 months ago, Sanji and I connected, and Sanji invited me to work with him, and we basically started a conversation series called Living Consciously. It was back in 2024 then, so it was called 2024. So we've upgraded it to 2026 by how time flies. And what we wanted to focus on was delivering wholesome content for people so that joined us either live or watched the video of the conversation. And basically, we've explored a whole range of topics that are of relevance to us, and we're very welcome for any of the co-hosts, panel members to suggest topics, or for people who are watching the replay to suggest topics. And really, it's about creating a safe, sacred space where we can discuss pretty much anything as long as it's with respect. And so far, that has happened very well. So we haven't had to kick anybody out yet. So hopefully we won't have to do that. I'm just joking. So everybody is welcome. That's basically the purpose of the gathering. And we have amazing conversations. The aim is for them to be uplifting and thought-provoking. And I find them very, very healing as well. That's probably all I wanted to say at this stage. Oh, I will also say that Sanji and I have had a conversation on self-compassion before, but last week Michael joined us for the first time and he mentioned self-compassion, and that prompted us to decide to explore self-compassion in a deeper way once again. And also it will be different this time because we've got different people offering their experience and skills and knowledge and wisdom. So I'll pass it over to Rae now, and I'd love to hear her thoughts about our topic, self-compassion.
Oh, hi, everybody. Thanks for having me back. Georgie and I got picked up along the way in way less than 18 months ago. so we've been coming along for a little while. I am up in far north Queensland in a little town called Atherton, which is inland from Cairns. And my background is I'm a very old nurse and a fairly new potter. So I make ceramics now full time. I've left the health industry. And because of my background, I tend to make pottery for the funeral industry because I'm very comfortable with the cycle of life and everything. So I make cremation urns and angels and everything you can think of, really. So this is an interesting topic for me because I'm hopeless at this. I'm here to learn. I'm terrible. I've been much better since I met Georgie. Yeah, don't pull funny faces. You taught me a lot because what did I do? How did that happen? I must have had some physical thing, didn't I? I had a back pain or so. Anyway, so somebody through word of mouth, somebody told me about Georgie, who is a spinal flow practitioner. So I went along and had the most amazing treatment. Like, wow. And I've always been a very round-shouldered person, and which is indicative of protecting your heart, as a So I've always had these round shoulders, and I got up off Georgie's massage table. I was gone. It was the first time I've ever been able to stand up straight naturally without forcing it. So I was hooked then. So I've had regular spinal flow sessions since then, and we've become really good friends through that practice. So, and because Georgie's on a really strong healing journey, she has taught me a lot. So I now regularly, and Sanji actually pushed me along as well. I now regularly go to an Ayurvedic practitioner. He's Ayurvedic, naturopath, Chinese herbs all rolled into one. Plus, he throws in this other really cruel technique called elastic cocks, which really hurts, but by jingoes, it works. So I've got him, and I go to acupuncture once a week, and I make sure I get enough sleep, and my whole way of eating has changed, and I've lost all this weight, and I feel like $1,000,000. And Sanji's teaching me how to meditate, and he makes me do it so much. I've always meditating. But people have noticed, and they keep saying, "Oh my gosh, you look amazing. You look so much younger." I thought, "Oh God, I must have looked like a 90-year-old before." But yeah, so I'm learning. I'm hopeless. I'm a terrible one for bashing myself up. If other people make a mistake, that's okay. I can handle that. But if I make one, oh, I torture myself. It's awful. Even things out of my control. Yeah, so bad. I have to stop doing that because it's not good. Yeah, so I'm here to learn from you guys. So I'll hand it over to Sanji.
Oh, like Georgie?
Oh, Georgie, I'm sorry.
Um, Hi, I'm Georgina, and I've come along a little bit. Oh, after you, Ray, I think. Yeah. Anyway, I'm originally off a cattle property. I think I said off a cattle property, and I was like jack of all trades, master of none. But you know, yeah, as I said, I think I mentioned it. Two things that I said I would never ever do, and they're childcare and healing, and they are the two major things what I'm doing, and especially now healing. Um, yeah, and I'm just on this big journey, so I'm better. I'm a lot better this week. I've been working all day today to keep myself busy because usually on the days off I have a lot of processing. So I thought, well, I'll make it useless. I'll put data into the computer. So I worked, and I'm working tomorrow too for a little bit. But yeah, I'm just, I don't know what else more to say. I'm here to learn more off you guys. And I don't meeting Ray, like it'd be nearly 2 years now, I think Ray and I have met. So and so I have lots of talks with Ray where she just listens, like, and I'm like, oh, poor Ray, I've got to, yeah, or otherwise she kicks me up the butt and tells me to, you know, so it's really good, and I appreciate Ray for that. And then Anthea coming on Monday nights for meditation is, yeah, just amazing. And I go to another meditation of a Wednesday night. Um, and it's out in the nature where that's what draw like it's outside usually when it's not raining, but at the moment it's been raining every week. But yeah, it's been amazing for me too. Yeah, all of it just makes me move on, and but I do a lot of processing on a Saturday and Sunday, which I'm going to try and keep busy and do stuff. Oh, I have found because I don't, most of you know, I'm on crutches and I have been for about 2 years with my what's in here and it's clearing. And I do go to a doctor. I just by being I was sick a month ago and in bed with the fevers and that. And I thought, oh, maybe I should go to a doctor. But he wasn't just a doctor. He was he was a spinal like nerves for, he's a holistic doctor. He's from Germany, Dr. Schindler, I don't know. Schindler, sorry. Um, people fly in and go to him all over the world. Like he's been in Malanda for, I don't know, 25 years or more. I'm not really sure. But I've always heard of him, and then I thought, oh, I'll go and like I just feel so much better like with my spine and everything. So hopefully, yeah, I'm on the road to move forward. That's me. Thank you. I'm not good at this.
That is fine. Micah?
Yeah, so if anybody's having second thoughts about tonight's topic, I was going to say that it's my responsibility, so I have to take some ownership of that. Um, the reason why I chose it, I guess, is because it's often something that I struggle with. I'd be keen to hear your take on things, Sanji, particularly given your background, because um, I don't know whether perhaps it might be relevant to share something about um, about Metta and Karuna in particular, two of the Brahma Viharas, that are probably relevant when it comes to compassion for self and compassion for others. Reflecting on the topic in general terms, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is, for me, it's important to at least occasionally remind myself it's okay not if you're not traveling too well, because life's hard. And it can be a bit of a struggle at times. And sometimes, it's just harder than at other times. And I'm not set because I tend to get caught in cycles where if I make a mistake, I'll beat myself up for it, and then feel guilty about it, and then I'll ruminate on, all pretty psychologically maladaptive habits. But sometimes, as I've got older, I guess I can see the value in self-compassion and compassion in general, compassion for other people, and just giving myself a bit of grace, I guess, or a bit of room to say, it's okay. Life can be hard. And I've found, I've sort of found that since the last session, because, I've been in and now I'm out of hospital. I got out yesterday. So, and one of the things that I find challenging about that experience is it's an environment in which I have to relinquish a certain amount of control. Because I don't always have 100% control over what's going to happen and when. I can't sort of, as much as I might like to, I can't really determine how things are going to unfold. And I find that hard because I just find that often psychologically we don't cope as well when we don't feel as if we're as in control of our circumstances as we might like to be. And I found that hard over the last week because, there are certain things that, and it was pretty mundane stuff. It was like, the specialist hasn't come to see me today, and I had really hoped to see him. Normally, he would do his rounds and he would see me while I was an inpatient. And for a while, I was, not managing that too well. And then it happened a couple of times, and then I sort of went, well, okay, maybe I'm just not going to worry about it, and I'm going to try and give up the need to be in charge of what's going on, because I most certainly wasn't. What do you think, Sanji? The only thing I wanted to recommend to people, if they're interested in the concept of self-compassion, is the work of a psychologist, Dr. Kristen Neff. She's an American psychologist who has studied self-compassion and written books about it and articles in academic journals, and she's probably a leading authority on this idea of self-compassion, and why it's a good thing to have a bit of self-compassion and self-acceptance. But what do you think, Sanji?
Oh, hello everybody. Hello Anthea. Hello Rae. Hello Georgie. Hello Michael. Very nice to be with you all again. So yeah, I'm Sanji, and I try to help people. I teach meditation and try to be help as a spiritual mentor. And so I met these wonderful people, and we are having these wonderful discussions. So today, yeah, like Anthea mentioned, we did it, but it's wonderful to have ideas and from all sides. And Michael brought it up last time. I think in my life also, I saw, like, at first I was like very crucial about external people. Then I was very critical about that. They didn't do this, or I didn't get that, or like that. Even as a child, it happens, no? Then later, when you understand a bit more, it shifts into your side, and then you are, or for some reason, maybe your parents are judging. I remember my mother used to always compare me with another student. Then I was so mad. I said, like, why don't you bring him and keep him here? And I'll go there. So then, but the crazy thing is, like, then you also fall into the pattern. Where as a child, even, no, you don't even know that. But then you are like self-critical, or like they just keep telling you, why can you be not like that person, and like that. But it subconsciously it starts working, no? and from the things you see. And so in a way, like first you are kind of like uh, you put it outside, then you shift it inside. So like when Michael said also, it's very difficult to find a balance as such, and because it shifts, no? Like for example, when you see the war that's happening now, you can easily blame it on others, right? Then again it can shift, like, am I ready for this? No, what am I get should have I prepared something? So what if this happens, that happens? So no, why didn't I do this? No, it can shift to our side even, right? So we can be, but talking about self-compassion, I think this is a thing, like sometimes people who are trying to help others also, they sometimes forget about them. So maybe surely you all know about this. And Michael is also like helping people, teaching them, and he does, like he goes to how to say, volunteer services and a lot of things he does. So we all can relate to this, and sometimes we forget ourselves also, even as teachers sometimes, no, you see. And then sometimes it's like we try to fix outside, and then some it can kind of like deteriorate inside. Or we see in other teachers it might happen, no? Or like people who are helping, like their health it can deteriorate, uh, but still they are trying to help the others. So in a way, like we need self-compassion to ourselves also, but it's not a egoistic journey or like having self-pity, uh, or like discriminating yourself like that. So I feel like the same kind of effort we are putting to help somebody, uh, or like the kindness or the love, affection that we are putting towards another being. It could be humans, it could be animals, but it should be put on to the person also. But we have to be very careful about the egoistic factor also. Otherwise, sometimes you just want to pamper yourself, right? Then some people get so caught up in that also. Then it turns into pity and things like that, no? Or get trying to get attention. That also can happen. But uh, in a way, if you can use a wise method, there are things like even meditations for that. Uh, so if we use some method like that, and if we let go of many defilements or like the negatives of the mind, then it's really, and the journey always starts from here, like within us, no? So then it's easy to focus outside also. So if we start it from here within us, then we already kind of like start with the self-compassion. And so many meditations actually, though the real effects or benefits don't start from there, they ask you to start from yourself. For example, loving kindness or compassion meditation or sympathetic joy or equanimity meditations. So I'll hand it over to Anthea, and we all talk about like what you think is self-compassion, no? Anthea, your mic.
Back again.
Yeah,
So
I was sorry, my apologies.
go ahead.
I was actually looking above my head to I was looking to see if amongst the books I've got there were any about loving kindness. In particular, if anyone's wanting a recommendation for books on loving kindness in English, I'd recommend Sharon Salzberg. Um, she works or had ties to IMS, and she has a long history as a Dharma teacher in the United States. But her area of interest, if I can call it that, is loving kindness and sort of loving kindness meditation. I think I probably do have one of her books on my bookshelf, even though I can't see it. But picking up on your point, Sanji, about loving kindness. I've always found it's interesting that in any of the meditations that I've done, like the guided meditations, for example, you actually have to start, and I'll ask Sanji to expand on this theme. You have to start with sending loving kindness to and thoughts of goodwill to yourself. So, and sometimes when I do the metta meditation, that's as hard as sending it to, sending loving thoughts of loving kindness and goodwill to somebody that I've just had an argument with. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know whether it's a cultural universal or whether it's commonplace in Western culture, but we tend to think that compassion is something that is outwardly directed. And we tend to think, oh, it's important to have compassion for people who are struggling, but implicit in that is sort of this idea that, yes, but that's something that we direct toward others, not toward ourselves. What do you think? What do you think, Sanjva, about just not giving in to maybe an egoic way of thinking or behaving, but having some compassion and understanding for yourself? What's your experience been in terms of meditation and helping other people to learn to meditate?
You don't want to steal the show, right? So I'll answer. Anthea, you go ahead there. So we'll come back, and then you please we'll go with the topic also. Okay.
Okay, so hold that thought, Sanji, and you can answer Michael when you when we come around to your turn again. But I'm really fascinated by what Michael is asking and expressing. And I also wanted to thank you all because it was really helpful. Thank you for introducing yourselves. Thank you for your time and energy this evening and interest. And also thank you for explaining what your take on self-compassion is. So that's really interesting. And I've made a note. Usually note taking helps me to focus my thoughts. So if you ever see me writing notes, it's not that I'm not listening. It actually helps me to listen more carefully and take notes. So I was fascinated that Rae feels that she struggles with self-compassion. Georgie expressed she's on a healing journey. Michael's keen to hear what Sanji has to say, but was expressing a lot of wisdom himself and has given us some really good references on loving kindness and self-compassion that we can benefit from. And also the conversation has steered into meditation, which meditation is amazing for everything. So I'm a big fan of meditation, but I just wanted to take it a step backwards, and perhaps I should have done this when I first introduced myself. But what I wanted to do was just take it a step backwards and look at some of the definitions of what we're talking about. So compassion, I looked up the definitions before this conversation, and compassionate it's about essentially suffering together, and it's feeling the motivation to relieve a person's suffering. So, and Michael was talking about how we tend to feel that compassion is something that we express or share for others outside of ourselves, but it's very much something that we can express and benefit from ourselves. So if we look at self-compassion, it's basically about relieving our own suffering, or even if we can't relieve our own suffering, because Michael's mentioned life is hard, life is tough. Life can be a battle every day. If we can't relieve it, perhaps we can accept that life is hard, and then we can have a bit more understanding for ourselves and our situation. I also wanted to mention perfectionism, and it's already been mentioned, not in those terms, but in terms of being really hard on ourselves. If we make mistakes or if we feel that we don't meet a certain level. And from my experience, perfectionism is a survival strategy. It's a coping skill. If we find ourselves in situations where, for example, my father had a work accident, which I've mentioned, when he was about 42. And as a result of his work accident, he suffered very severe back injury and also an acquired brain injury. And he also experienced anxiety and depression as a result of that. His personality was very up and down, so very unpredictable person. One time he'd be really happy, the next he would be really sad, and I couldn't predict it. So I walked on eggshells around him when I was younger. And as a result of that, I believe that I developed perfectionistic tendencies, and I am a high achiever. I don't know how much of that is genetic or inherent in me and my ancestors, and how much of that was to actually please my father. So perfectionism, yeah, very interesting, and we can be very, very hard on ourselves. And I feel like perfectionism and being hard on ourselves is almost the opposite of self-compassion. And I'd love to hear what Sanji has to say about that as well, and all of you. What else did I have? I also wanted to explore empathy a little bit, because empathy is just a little bit different to compassion. So empathy is more about being able to sense other people's emotions and perhaps imagine what it's like to walk in their shoes. They talk about walking in another person's shoes. So it's slightly different to compassion. And I'd love to hear what everybody else has to say about that and their experiences. So I wanted to touch upon those things, and I would love to continue the conversation and hear what everybody else has to contribute. Over to you, Rae.
Right, I've got notes. And I've got a different angle as well. So let's just try and follow on from your thread about empathy. As a nurse, you had to have it. If you want to be a good nurse, you had to have empathy. You couldn't have sympathy because that would cripple you and you couldn't get your job done. You had to have something between you and the person you were looking after to protect yourself so that you could function. Because dealing with someone who's just lost a leg, for example, in the traumatic, you can't get tied up in all of that drama because that's just such a, overarching thing. So, yeah. So being a perfectionist, both my parents are perfectionists. Oh, yay! It was really fun. So I was really smart at school because I tuned into what the teachers wanted, right? So I was really good academic-wise because on the tests I gave them what they wanted. Really good. I'd take home a maths test. I'd get 99 out of 100, and Dad would go, "Oh, what stupid mistake did you make?" It's like, oh. So I picked up from that. My interpretation as a child from that was that I wasn't good enough. Righto. So then off I go to nursing, and I'm hospital trained. So we had cranky old charge nurses that taught us what to do, a whole bullying mentality. That's how they functioned. And if you were the lowest chook in the pen, then you got picked on the most. So our first year was hell on wheels. And but the biggest message I got was that we didn't count. Our feelings didn't count. We weren't allowed to judge the person we were looking after. Like, that could be alcoholics, or, or whatever. That could have come in from the prison, having murdered somebody, and they'd come in to get a whatever fixed up in the hospital. Though I could have nursed Martin Bryant. He was responsible for a terrible gun massacre in Tasmania many years ago. I could have looked after him without blinking, because that's how we were taught. But that resulted in the biggest challenges of my life, in that I chose life partners, marriage partners, who put me last. And because I was so used to that, they were dysfunctional, abusive relationships ish. Yeah, the first one wasn't too bad, but the second one was horrible. So it set me up for that. So I had to really, I've looked at that so much. And my biggest lesson is all about respect, because I thought, these blokes don't respect me. How do I have self-respect, and how do I make other people respect me? So I've learnt you can't make other people respect you. You can only teach them how to treat you. And I learnt that best from a girl on YouTube who was probably 32 or something when she was on YouTube, and she is a multi-millionaire businesswoman. Like, she's really gone for it in her life, and self-respect is her number one thing. That and assertiveness, which is a whole nother topic we could talk about all day. But her example of how she teaches people to treat her, she got a job in a gym, like she was a fitness coach or whatever, something like that. And she was employed. She was very young, 18, and she was working in this gym. And the boss of the gym came to her and said, "Oh, see those three old blokes over there? Can you please go over and talk to them, make them feel really comfortable in the gym?" And she was absolutely horrified, because he was not asking her to talk to them because of her expertise in fitness. It was because she was a pretty young thing. So you know what she did? She walked out. She just picked up her bag and left. She said nothing to no one. She just left. And that is how she has handled disrespectful things her entire. She just leaves. She doesn't even argue. She doesn't say, "Don't you speak to me like that." Gone. Given that as a work example, and it's a bit harder than relationships, that principle is so important. Yeah, and the other thing is the assertiveness. So assertiveness is always win-win. So you stand up for yourself, and you might say, my son's favourite line when he's been bullied, he's taught me so much, because he just doesn't take crap from anybody. He would say, "Are you bullying me?" Just straight out name the behaviour, and then he would deal with it from there and try and see the other person's point of view, which is all about your empathy and your compassion. He's so compassionate, my son. Takes no crap, but so compassionate. He's just the most amazing. I know why he's mine, because in my life, because he's teaching me all these things that I had no clue about. Yeah, so that's kind of a different take on self-compassion. It's all about having self-respect and demanding respect from other people. Yeah, so that's my points. Now it's your turn, Georgie. Can't hear you.
Yeah, I think, yeah, as I think as a child, until I was, oh, only a couple of years ago, I always had someone telling me what to do. And always feeling like, I wasn't doing it properly, or you know, or I was dumb or whatever. And it's a big thing for me. Like, yeah, I don't have that anymore. I think compassion, my turnaround for compassion is that I'm treating myself, and I haven't got there yet, don't get me wrong, treating myself like I would treat a friend, you know, like, yeah, I've always been too hard on myself, and having to do, yeah, like, we're not thinking that I was enough or that I was good enough, that I was not capable, and yeah. And I think yeah, of treating, yeah, of having, you treat yourself like you would treat having a friend, in pain and support, like in life, because you know life is not easy, um is to have that someone, or you know, for support, like I have Rae, you know, having that someone to talk to. I don't, yeah, I did have a note here, but yeah, of like self-kindness. You got to be, yeah, it's self-kindness, and you know, and mindfulness, that you know, when you're stressed, because sometimes I know, like when I'm stressed and whatever, I don't feel that I am, but my body is. So I think you have to be mindful of what's happening. Mm, yeah. Um, I don't know what else. Sorry. That's it for me.
I forgot something. Just one other side point that Sanji might expand on as well is you can have a hard life without suffering. Suffering is separate. For example, my son, when he was 13, was dying. He had an autoimmune disease that I could not get diagnosed. It took me 6 months of taking him from doctor to doctor to try and get him because I knew something was wrong, and they kept telling me, oh, it'll just be a gut bug. And he had course after course after course of antibiotics, and it never got better. He missed entire grade 8. He just couldn't go to school because he was so unwell. And it wasn't until weight started to fall off him and he looked like a skeleton that they took me seriously. I'm cranky about that. But I could have suffered through that because I honestly thought I'd have him for 5 years and then he would die, because and the treatments they put him on to start with weren't working, and he was fading away. It was just awful. So, but I didn't. I turned it into, I just enjoy every second I've got with him. Yeah, and I honestly did not suffer through that. I just did everything I could. Yeah, and it was hard, but yeah, it wasn't a suffering experience. So those two things are separate.
Michael, would you like to have a turn now?
I'm yes, I'm just uh reflecting um on what Rae was saying about the importance of self-respect. And I think there's a lot of wisdom in what Rae has, you know, expressed, in the sense that you tend to learn that you can't demand that somebody else is going to treat you in a certain way, and just got to have You just got to have good boundaries in a way, healthy boundaries. So I guess having a degree of compassion for yourself and the fact that life's hard. One of the practical ways of bringing that into your everyday life is probably having those healthy boundaries. And if somebody does mistreat you, yeah, knowing when to take yourself out of the situation, as Rae said.
Immediately is the answer. You go the first time. The first time they disrespect you, that's when you go.
What do you think, Anthea, about those topics?
So I agree. I loved hearing what Rae had to say about self-respect, assertiveness, and sympathy. And I also love hearing what she says about first time people disrespect you, then you remove yourself. And I really enjoyed hearing you talk, Rae, about that lady who had with the story about being working in the gym and being asked to sort of basically chat up and entertain those gentlemen because she was a pretty young lady and she removed herself. And that's something that I've learned later in life, that if people disrespect me, I probably don't do it the first time. I'm not quite up to that level yet, but I definitely, I think with my personality and perhaps my people-pleasing tendencies, again, something that I'm working on and very aware of, that I give people a lot of chances, but when they're done, they're done. When they've passed that line, that's it. And that's both liberating and a bit terrifying because it's very powerful. But when people, because I have a very kind heart, I'm very patient. But if people take advantage over and over again, that's it. So yeah, I do struggle with that. And there's situations with probably a handful of people in my life that have reached that point, and I just basically have moved on and not in communication with them anymore. That's it. And yeah, it's something that I grieve over. It's something that I spend a lot of time reflecting on, and I'm continuously learning about and seeing it in different lights. So I'm really enjoying this conversation because it's helping me to process that even further. Okay, Michael, did you want to go ahead, Rae?
So don't forget, Anthea, that other
Yep.
person knows how they should treat you. That's the big lesson. That all the things going on in your head, oh, they said that because they were tired or they've got pain, or nah, they know exactly how they should treat someone else. So yeah, you don't need to teach them.
Yeah.
They know. They
Yeah.
always know.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just
Thanks
don't.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
And
know exactly what you're doing.
my good sentence for people is, if they keep going and going, is always like, I can't control how you feel. You can have your say, but I can't control how you feel, and you can't control how I feel. No. It works well on some of them.
Yeah. Mel Robbins, she's actually been out in Australia. She might still be out in Australia. She's written about the let them theory. So it's about letting other people behave the way they behave. If they want to get cranky with you, if they want to disrespect you, would be included in that. That's fine. Let them do it. And then it's about working out what you're going to do about that.
Right.
So I really follow her on social media, and I really relate to that. And I think that's sort of resonating with our conversation as well. Thank you.
If you have audio books, put it on audiobook. It's wonderful.
All right.
Yeah, it's beside my bed as well.
Okay.
That book.
Michael and Sanji, did you want to talk?
Maybe I'll answer what Michael asked before. So
Go ahead.
Michael, we start with ourselves. So we practice a lot. All these like divine adobes, meditations, Brahma Viharas and all. So the idea is like we generate that. Then later on, we actually focus on the external person. Huh? So first we don't just directly dive into a person maybe whom we have some conflict with. Then we kind of like adjust the mind. So it's like, for example, in loving kindness, you take a person whom you have a lot of respect. So eventually the mind will be like advanced because we keep them in a high place, no? Because we genuinely feel it, no? So they're already there. So when you remember them most, you feel good. So then for like compassion meditation, we take a person whom who's in some difficulty actually. So we genuinely feel it, no? So, but first we had to do it to ourselves. Then, sympathetic joy, we take a person who is we consider successful in any aspect or have some particular skill or something, no? Or even a good quality. And eponymous meditation, we take a neutral person. But in all those cases, like we do it first for ourselves, and then since we are talking about compassion, we have to do it for ourselves. It's like we find the water and then we start distributing it. So we have to do it many times for ourselves, and then only the shift happens. But then that is the point. Actually, the meditation starts happening, or like really the effects of it or the benefits of it start coming. All this meditation, though we start from ourselves, like it doesn't really, the benefits don't happen. For example, the concentration or even like absorption or jhana or like that, it doesn't happen when you just practice on yourself, because these are vast topics. Like the topics or the objects are also very vast. It doesn't get caught up in a centered way. So that's why you need a broader, uh, uh, how to say, because it doesn't just stop there, because then you take like 10 people and focus compassion on them individually. Then you take a neutral person, or a person whom you like, maybe, uh, a person whom you respect, and then in all four, it's like that you start with one person in a particular because of the regarding the meditation. For compassion, you start with a person whom is in some difficulty. Then what happens is like you don't even take from the opposite gender and all, because you want to really channel the mind towards that particular quality, because it can waver, no? And like Anthea said, sympathy or something else can appear, right? Or even it can turn into another shift, right? Uh, so we don't want that, and in practice of that particular meditation, we focus there. But then we take a person whom we like, then a neutral person. Then finally only it follows with a person, maybe there's some grudge or some mutual. So yeah, I hope that answers, Michael. And from the level of concentration and the way it brings, from especially the level of concentration, you can know it's the same to the person who is suffering, the person you like, the person and a neutral person, as well as the person we thought we disliked. It's the same, but at that time the build-up is already there. So at first, maybe we can touch it with our fingertips. If it's difficult, we practice those and then finally take that person as the object. But later it becomes like the mind had already built up a And that's a good point. We can know we are treating everybody the same. We have the same kind of compassion to ourselves, the person who is in difficulty, because we already have those qualities. So we can, with the level of concentration, we can really know, say we can do that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes without any disturbances. Because it starts from there, but later it shifts. Then you know, okay, and you will know particularly this meditation is from this object. This is compassion meditation. And then when you go to like access concentration, momentary concentration, access concentration, even absorption, jhana and all, you will clearly know, oh, this is from compassion meditation. But you can use methods like, you can use things like loving kindness and soften it up and bring it to compassion meditation. That's why it's first loving kindness is brought, then compassion meditation, then sympathetic joy, then equanimity meditation. Okay. Yeah, and coming back to our topic, yeah, there are things like, if you talk about self-respect, we'll talk as a different topic even, no? I think it's a good topic because I also have heard in many instances, and I have worked also in many for instances, but there are some instances you are really stuck in there, say your workplace, or you have to be there. For example, as a monk, you are there, you cannot just walk away, no? And then there are things like that triggers you. Like, and it's your triggers, right? So in a way, it puts ourselves to the test. Not that you should be humiliated or disrespected, nothing like that happens. But in a way, like when you feel not respected, in a way, like uh, we cannot expect that also, no? And these great masters had said, in the whole history of civilization, nobody was utterly praised or utterly discriminated. It's the case, no? The same people who praise, next moment they can blame you and the other. So it's a big balance. Maybe it's a good topic we have to talk about. Uh, and then what about if we are somebody who's close, no, we should give them chances, right? Then what if it's somebody we are trying to help? Or what if it's a child or somebody, right? We cannot just disregard them, no, just banish them out of the kingdom or something, right? So it will apply in different stages, different ways. Say it's a pet, right? And it doesn't obey you or like that. So is it respect or is it obeying? So I think no. So it comes to different things, and overall, like we are talking the topic of how to say compassion. This mutual respect also goes a long way. And then expectations, those things are also coming to the, oh, why didn't he or she say thank you even at least? Oh, am I a fool to help like this? Are they not respecting me? Oh, sometimes it's our ego also playing the part, right? So, and in another way, like if we are going into the depths of things, like we should be able to like handle these situations also, right? Without just say like, no, I don't take none of this, no? But there are things, for example, when you go to a teacher, for example, they say be like a ball of clay or like a doormat, not to be abused, I mean just to be humble and learn. So you have to work and you have to do all this, then you clean the toilets, do all these things, your ego goes down the toilet also, no? And in a way, it's a test also in life. Oh, those days they used to use as an apprentice, right? So in a way, when Ray said like she was in a mind state that she could help anybody, even the worst of society-wise named people, or even a child, that's a great thing, right? So likewise, the conditioning or like that, where is this respect level? How, and what about the karma? So when you check your past lives and all, you can really connect them, and the respect we get now is the respect we had given before. from the karmic factors, you try to be good and all, and then you see like people ridiculing. For example, you can check your past lives. So in a third past life, I was a very nasty person. I should like badmouth many people. So in this life, uh, I was trying to help people, but it always collapsed on me. I was like, what did I do even wrong? No, and they were like, you should not do that. And I was like, it should be praised, or like I should be respected. No, I got the blame for that. Then later in deeper meditation stages, like I was born in a place and I was like that, and I was a man at that time, but I had a very bad mouth, and I was like bad mouth people, good people, and here it comes back in 3 lifespans afterwards, backfiring on me even if I do a good thing. So now it's not my fault, but what about those things I have in arrears to pay, right? In my account. No. So yeah, Phil, it's a good topic, and I don't want to take all the time. So I'll just mention some things like you all did. Self-kindness is instead of self-criticism. Yeah, and then uh, it's common in like without isolating ourselves, we should know like it's a common thing in humanity. No? So we just put like, why is it happening to me? Oh my gosh, no, like that. But it is a part of humanity, or that is how it is. And like Georgie said, definitely it's a place where we should implement, not ignoring it or anything like or exaggerating it. It's a place we have to bring in mindfulness. So it's very powerful. So it's not self-pity, it's not laziness, you avoid responsibility, and not pretending even like everything is okay, right? These are different ends. So we can see like some aspects. Wait, I had some more. Yeah, it can change the way we think, and then increase our accountability also. It doesn't weaken it. And another thing is like there's a like Anthea also mentioned, and we all I think went through at some point. There's a shame cycle, right? Harsh judgment, I'm not good enough, or like shame builds, or why didn't I do enough? No, I could have saved them, I could have done this. No, but it comes like a cycle, no, and then we did our very best at that time. Later, because later we did projects and all these things, then there were everything was not a successful project, no, but it came to the place we started from scratch. We at the thing came. We at least we tried, and we gave our 100%. No, but at least we tried, right? It's and there were many other benefits that came, and it strengthens emotional resilience, like the pain or overreaction or suppressing emotions. And another good thing, it reduces anxiety and depression. So people think like self-criticism is also something natural, but sometimes they go overboard of that. So in a way, we should be able to like focus and reflect on ourselves, but like to make ourselves proper, like make them stepping stones, no, not to like crash yourself. So it's very like in a very way, like it's like a balance. We should not be too critical about outside. We should not critical about inside. No, like we have to find the way to guide your bicycle through the path, no? And physically also, it's very healthy for the immune system. Everything like it brings up healthier habits. These kind of things. It changes the way we see ourselves. So in a way, I think like even from childhood, people should be, but not too much also. So it's very difficult to find the balance. But at some point, especially when we are maturing and all, but there are still people who are as adults also, they get very offended by the slightest thing, or they put the blame on themselves. And there are sometimes like people who come with dark minds and try to suppress others. So all these things should be, but it's not like we are right all the time also, right? So, but still we have to keep our mind okay. So in a way, like I feel like we can build it from within, and more we use things like factors like wisdom and reality, we won't mind, we will get the praise or the opposite effect from the opposite side, right? Yet we have the confidence, we are responsible, the dignity, all these things. When we can walk away and we can say no at any point, but still maybe we will have the compassion to say like, okay, there was a great teacher, he said like, if they fail you like 100 times, just let 101 also happen. Maybe they can shift, right? I know it's not easy or anything, but that also, but we have to know like the way not to be stepped on and crushed on, and we should not get crushed. But in a way, if we have a very strong mind, we wouldn't even mind, right? If a kid or anybody or like plays around, sometimes if they are very small, we would say, oh, this is just a child. What does the child know? If it's a pet of ours, we would say, oh, it's a pet, right? So then in a way we can build up a huge level of compassion also, right? For oneself as well as especially the others. Okay, yeah, please, you all relate to this. So yeah, these are there are many more things also about, but it's not to like criticize oneself and then fall into the depths of things. And in a way, like through that, it will project outwards, even having a larger scope of compassion to the others also. Okay, yeah, please. Others also, please tell their idea.
Okay, so we've basically chatted for about a bit over an hour. So do we feel that we could extend this into a second session, or do we feel that we can wind it up tonight? What are people's thoughts? Rae.
Depends on if Michael's got enough out of it.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
This
fair
was
enough.
for you big time, so.
I'm fairly open to what everyone else wants to do, so I don't have a too strong a preference either way. But one question I did want to ask you, Rae, if I could, is when I was in the hospital, I couldn't help but notice and admire quite a lot of the nursing staff that I encountered in my stay there. And I just wondered, because I think maybe in a different context, is it easy to burn out in that sort of an environment? Can you get compassion fatigue?
You don't from the patients, you do from the management.
Right.
So yeah, so it depends how supported you are. We support each other, like people on the same level. If you've got people above you that have no respect for you, for example, they ask you, will you work a double shift? And they'll do that every day for a week. That's what burns you out, not the care for the patients, because that fills your heart. Yeah. So yes, yeah, I burned out big time. I was really lucky. I found a little niche where I could survive for longer. I went into education.
Right.
Yeah, so it just kept me out of the politics enough that I could stay until, and yeah, because I was a single mum, right? So I needed that financial security. Yeah, that's why I was lucky. But yeah, no, it's not you guys. Patients are beautiful. It's not a problem. It's the system. Mm.
Georgie, do you feel that you would like another week or another session to explore this topic further, or are you happy to wrap it up tonight?
Oh, look, I'm open to what everyone wants to do. I'm happy. Whether, yeah.
Thank you. And Sanji, so the decision's up to you now.
Yeah, anybody can please suggest, no? And I would like to talk with all of us about like pain management.
Me
I
too.
think, yeah, no, like I think it will
What?
be a good topic. Pain,
Pain
you can
management. Oh,
pain
right.
management, no?
Mm.
That will be a good topic, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So what shall we decide? Like next week, shall we do the second part of this?
What I'm even thinking is that because I've written down some ideas for topics, I'll share them with you. So I had written down chronic pain or illness. So pain management definitely comes under that. I'd also written down assertiveness and self-worth and triggers, I think comes into that as well. And then I think that we've still got probably one other session on sleep because there was the aspect of nightmares and dreams that we were still going to talk
Dream.
about. So we've got plenty to talk about. Ray's rubbing her hands together.
The
We've got
dreams.
plenty
I want
to
to
talk
know
about.
about how to interpret your dreams.
Yeah. So what we could do is perhaps wrap it up tonight for self-compassion, but we can always discuss aspects of self-compassion under the other topics because
Yeah.
there's always space. And so we've got time, we've got, future sessions ahead. So I think if we wrap it up tonight, unless Sanji has specific desire to have another whole session on it, perhaps next week we could talk about assertiveness and self-worth because I think we've got plenty to work on with that. What do people think?
No, I don't mind. If everybody's fine with that, let's do. Like Michael and
Or
Georgie, what do you feel about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
Self-worth, right?
Or we could
self
talk about dreams.
All right. Well, perhaps we talk about dreams and nightmares and sleep related.
Do you reckon? I reckon, Michael. You reckon that?
Yeah, I'm always open to to that.
Yeah,
That's
Rae. Mm.
Yeah. Busting.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
asking once, asking twice, asking thrice.
three, talk to Ray.
Dreams.
All right. In that case, perhaps we'll go around and we'll have any ending or final thoughts or parting words, and then we'll finish our conversation this evening. So for me, I just wanted to say it's been really fascinating and I'm really honored and grateful to you all for sharing and being quite vulnerable and honest about your thoughts and your experiences. It's really helpful for me to reflect on my own experiences and to see how other people who are like-minded and like-hearted to respond to similar things. So that's basically what I wanted to share. So I'll hand it over to Rae.
Yeah, as a parting comment, I just need to underline that suffering is a choice. Life can be hard, but you don't have to suffer. It's a mindset, and you can change it. The only thing you can change in life are your thoughts. So, yeah, something to work on, and something Sanji's brilliant at helping you to change your mindset. So, can be tough, but you don't have to suffer.
Georgie?
Yeah, I think recognizing and feeling, your thoughts and imperfections and everything is fine, but just remember
Yeah, you can always ask for help. Definitely. You can
you
always
can
ask for
always
help.
ask for help and and just it goes I think it goes back to that self-love, self-worth, and you just recognize what you need to do for yourself. Hmm.
Very wise. Michael?
I guess, and I have to confess that this is very much from my point of view, but I at times find the holidays can be more challenging than other times. Christmas, New Year, the Easter break, the summer holidays. And even though they're meant to be really happy times, they can present challenges. So I guess the only thing I would say is that definitely I need to maybe remember to cut myself a bit of slack, and particularly over the holidays when maybe you have family around or you've got time off, or um, just cutting yourself a bit of slack sometimes, giving yourself um, a bit of grace is a good idea, even during the holidays. So
Thank you, Michael, for your insight and wisdom. And Sanji?
So I'll just introduce like anybody who's listening this also to this like 3 examples of real life scenarios. So maybe anybody can get you some help or anything with that. It happens to us also, and then I think so. First scenario is like from stress. It overwhelms, and then pressure in a pressure moment. So when you have too many things to do, no, or the mind is racing, or you feel pressure, you feel here, you also no, like it's true. Even the heart is beating. So all pattern will be like I cannot handle this, or am I falling behind, or it's too much, no. So it increases panic. But with like compassion practices, we can pause for like 10 seconds or like 20 seconds, and don't like we don't try to solve all the things. We just pause, and then we can internally say like, okay, this is acknowledge it, like this is a moment of stress. Then it's like you find a thief and you say you don't have to do anything, like just say like, oh, a thief or a robber, no, and then they get alerted, no. And so we acknowledge it and try to keep it simple and real and normalize it. Like anyone with lot of things happening, they could feel overwhelmed. Huh? This removes that why me factor. No, then you can say like, uh, uh, what is one small thing I can do right now? So it calms you down. It regains the control as such. Like it's like we losing control, and let you move forward. And if it's like a relationship with anybody, if someone says something that hurts you or disrespect you, without we'll try to like usually we react immediately, raise our voice or shut down, then later regret what we say, and then it could be for anybody, right? Then the new in self-compassion we can do like we can pause, like we said, a couple of seconds and say, okay, like we can say to ourselves even like this hurts, no, without denying. And then we can ground ourselves and take one slow breath and thinking like, I don't have to react to this. And then my feelings are also valid. I can handle this calmly. We can try to tell ourselves and respond to it like, now you can say something back like, I didn't feel good about hearing that from you. Can we talk about it? Right? So in another, like in decision making, this is the last one, I'll finish it off. So we need to take important decisions but you are like kind of stuck in that path. Then our all is like, why cannot do it correctly? Or I cannot choose. What if I choose it wrong? What if I regret it? No. But with compassion, self-compassion practices, we can know, okay, this is important, but I'm not sure. And then we can remove that perfectionist or perfection. Even like I would say, there's no perfect choice here. And reassurance yourself, even if this does not go perfectly, I can handle it. So we say these things in our mind, no? And then ask one clear, what feels reasonable and aligned right now? And then we can make a decision. I will support myself no matter what happens. So likewise, we can use self-compassion in a very positive manner and a way also. I just brought up some about 3 scenarios, like basic ones we usually face. So yeah, and I think we should have self-respect and all, but the compassion, especially when we're helping others, also it goes a long way. And sometimes when we feel it, but we should not get caught up emotionally. And then when we have pity on ourselves, it can turn into like depressive stages, or like even it can turn into even jealousy. Uh, like I remember when you were small, when they were telling all this, or somebody had something or equipment or something I didn't have. uh, First I was feeling bad, or like they have, I don't have, no? But later it was just, oh, I don't have. Then it's like envy. So now we are adults and we are learning, so we can shift it around. And especially as people who are trying to help others, I think we bring ourselves into a secure spot, and then we can use the helping others or like compassion towards the other, not to inflict us with sadness, but to really feel it and then try to help them more. So each step they go along that, it will bring our mind also joy. Like we were able to, oh, this person is doing better, no? But we can reflect on ourselves also and see and learn from our mistakes. So I could have done it like this, no? But we'll make it to the habit that doesn't destroy us or put ourselves into scrutiny, no? Or judgment. Okay.
Thank you, Sanji. So I think that the last thing I want to say is that it's all about balance, which life is basically all about balance. So thank you all for your time and your energy and your insights and wisdom once again. And I look very much forward to our next session where we will be discussing dreams. So have a great night, afternoon, and until next time, take care.
Okay, sweet dreams to all. Eh?
Thank you.
Dreams
Thank
unanimously.
Yes,
you.
see
See you
you.
guys.
Talk to you soon.
All right.